Hi and welcome. If it's your first time to my channel, so good to have you with us. If you're returning, so good to have you back. This week I've been looking at James chapter 2, and before anything let's just dive straight in and see what it's got to say. So James chapter 2, starting at verse 1. My dear brothers and sisters, how can you claim to have faith in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ if you favour some people above others? For example, suppose someone comes into your meeting dressed in fancy clothes and expensive jewellery, and another comes in who's poor and dressed in dirty clothes. If you give special attention and a good seat to the rich person, but you say to the poor one, you can stand over there, or I'll sit at the floor, well, doesn't this discrimination show that your judgments are guided by evil motives? Listen to me, brothers and sisters. Hasn't God chosen the poor in this world to be rich in faith? Aren't they the ones who will inherit the kingdom he promised to those who love him? But you dishonour the poor. Isn't it the rich who oppress you and drag you into court? Aren't they the ones who slander Jesus Christ, whose noble name you bear? Yes. Indeed, it is good when you obey the royal law found in the scriptures. Love your neighbour as yourself. But if you favour some people over others, you are committing a sin. You're guilty of breaking the law. For a person who keeps all of the laws except one are as guilty as a person who has broken all of God's laws. The passage goes on to describe a couple of examples where people might have broken one law and kept all the others, but and then it concludes by drawing together and by saying, whatever you say and do, it's by the law that sets you free, the love and the grace of Jesus, that you are judged. This passage is almost 2,000 years old, and it speaks to a situation in the church where clearly some people were favouring some people above others because of how they looked. How they looked was a result of their wealth, their money. They preferred the rich people that looked like them or the ones that they wanted to look like and gave them the best seats. They did this at the expense of people that they valued less. In this case, it's poverty. They had less money and their clothes didn't look as good. But it speaks of a core issue of value, that there was a problem in the church where we valued some people above others. Now, this is completely contrary to what Jesus came and said. Jesus came and told us that every single person matters to God. There is not one person here that God would not have come and died for. He loves everyone equally. The challenge here is that we have a church where people were not giving equal opportunity, equal prominence. They were not placing equal value on everyone in the way that God does. It's challenging this preference for the rich, the popular, the aspirational, certainly in those people's eyes, and saying, hang on, you've missed a bit of the kingdom. Jesus constantly came and spoke to other people on the poor side, and they almost value the kingdom more because to a large extent they don't have the distractions of riches and wealth. This is a week with George Floyd's murder in the USA, and it's caused a lot of debate worldwide about the position of race, about discrimination, whether deliberate or certainly the unconscious discrimination that we often do. This passage talks just not about discrimination on race, but based on poverty. And I think we can all see that discrimination does naturally happen on the base of class, on the base of celebrity, on the base of what you wear. We inherently tend towards preferring and giving greater value to the people that we want to be like, we want to become, that we think reflect us and are very similar. We need to remember we're here to reflect God. We're here to act like Jesus and value everybody the same. This passage directly talks against racism. It directly talks about discrimination of celebrity, of wealth. And it's something we've got to be very conscious of. When we go to church, do we value some people above others? Not necessarily in how we think, but in the way that we act. Do we constantly give preference to our friends, the rich, People that look like us, act like us, are the same kind of culture? And do we put the effort in to value people that are hard? People that don't share the same culture as us, that may not have the same wealth, may not have the same experience or skill. Maybe it's as simple as you want to go out and play football. And there's one person that wants to play football but isn't as good. Do we value them less in a church? Do we go, there's someone else's problem, or do we look at them through God's eyes? James chapter 2 has a lot to say to us. And if we grab its challenge, we need to look and go, whether consciously or unconsciously in the church, do we discriminate, or do we create the same value on everyone in our church? Not just in the way we think about people, but in the way that we give our lives, in the way that we act towards each other, the opportunity, the prominence we give. Are we looking for what God sees in people? Or are we choosing to prefer the people that we would rather be around? It's a harsh challenge, and it's one that's been going on for over 2,000 years. But if we're to become more like Christ, it's one that we need to grab. If this has been helpful to you, why not hit the subscribe button? Why not hit the notification button? I'd love to let you know when more of these are coming out. I'm going to try and make them a lot more regular. Feel free to share it if you want. But as I study the Bible and as I look and as God speaks to me, I want to make some of those lessons available to everyone else in the hope that we can all learn from each other, we can all grow quick, and we don't need to make the mistakes or continuously repeat mistakes that other people have already learned from. The best I can do is share it, and let's hope that we can all learn, be challenged, and move forward and become more like the people that we're supposed to be. Take care. Praying for you.